There's nothing in the way. Keep pushing proof into the picture until you see a Come on, you know we're gonna break through.
Welcome back to the WREC Finals. We're here on day 2, and we've got a few minutes, a little bit before we get to our second series of the day. Stress joined on the analysis by Hullbreaker, Hellsdevil, and Ryu. This is going to be a more interesting series, I think, than we had pinned it before we came into today. I just got off casting Parla versus Game Lord, a big upset in that game, in game 2. Yeah. Game Lord advanced 2-1, but I think this really gives us a situation between Parla and Formulation where DB, this is more of an even series than we were expecting.
Yeah, definitely. I'm absolutely, I think the bot lane, I'm speechless. They played so amazing. Guys on that Galio, he made so many plays happen. I expected Hester was coming in here as the #1 support. He's like the playmaker. But Guys wasn't the playmaker. He, on that Galio, with his flash taunt engage, hitting 4 people, getting those engages in. I feel like Formulation Gaming, they need to ban that Galio up. It's just so amazing how well they played, and I honestly didn't expect that one, and I think this series is gonna be super close. But Hells, you are here now on the endless list. What you are thinking?
Yeah, Knuckles as well. This guy, oh my god, in the mid lane. When he picked that Riven, I was like, is that really gonna work, right? Riven in the mid lane, and then he just pulled it off. He absolutely hard stomped a team like Game Lord, right? And now he's gonna be up against the Dawn, who's also a very known mid laner, right? Especially on these very good picks. I want to see the Yasuo come through from the Dawn as well, but in this game especially, for me, the highlight is going to be in the mid lane, right? The mid lane, when it's going to be Knuckles against the Dawn. I'm going to love that matchup, Stress.
Yeah, I mean, we know there are a few key picks there that Formulation like to play, like the Aurelia. We are going to dive deeper into the picks a little later. Ryu, I know there's one that you have your eyes on that people might not expect.
I think we've seen a lot of different support picks over the past few days, but I think generally the most success people have had is actually on these aggressive supports. We've seen Lulu try being picked, we've seen Yuumi, we've seen Braum. Not with the same success as we've seen with the Leona, for example. I think Leona is going to be a key pick today.
I think so as well. We'll dive back into the support picks specifically in a couple of minutes. You know, my analysts here on the desk are smart, but there's one person on the WREC broadcast that we haven't heard from yet this weekend, and that is Smart Stewart.
Thank you very much, Stress. Yes, it's not a WREC without Smart Stewart. We're going to be taking a look at game number 2 between Team Queso and NASA. This is where Hullbreaker becomes a completely broken item. So hopefully we'll get the gameplay up very, very shortly. In this clip, there was a very, very interesting situation where there was a lot of Hullbreakers. There was 3 Hullbreakers across the entire board. And the big ones are on Camille and Garen, because in that Baron lane, as you can see on the mini-map, Acolyte was up there. So as we roll this clip, we should be able to find out what actually happens in this situation. So it's actually NASA the ones that are playing really, really aggressive in this clip, because they know that Acolyte is up in that Baron lane. They need to make sure that they either stop Acolyte or they try and force a team fight to try and get the win. And now, at the moment, you can see that NASA realized that Acolyte, they can't leave Acolyte alone with Hullbreaker because of the extra resistances and everything as well. You can see highlighted now on screen that Camille in the Baron lane is the main problem for NASA. So the whole of NASA are now getting dragged along by Team Queso. That means that Team Queso now have control of that Elder Dragon. And then again, NASA are the ones that are playing aggressive. Everyone tries to go in, the flashes come in, the ultimates come in as well. But again, in the top left-hand corner, you can see that Camille is now in a 1 versus 1 situation against Garen. In that base as well, the Hullbreaker minions, are in the base. You can see that Garen can't do anything against Camille in the late game because of all the damage that she can do. The 1 versus 1 against Garen's not going too well. There's a team fight still happening. NASA are trying to force the Elder Dragon, but Camille, with that bot inhibitor down as well, with all the Hullbreaker minions, is able to end the game for Team Queso, and that means they were able to make it to the semi-final. So I've got a question for the analyst desk. Is Hullbreaker a broken item?
That is a good question, and from Hullbreaker to Darkbreaker, Mr. Breaker himself, Breaker, what's your verdict?
I just have to say Hullbreaker is one of those items that is broken in the right hands. Like, we have seen so many players going for that Hullbreaker and not make it work because they just keep grouping up. They don't know how to play around that Hullbreaker correctly, because it's an amazing item where you have to find the right balance between when do I split push and when do I have to join for the team fight, and also when do I buy this item. But if you play it correctly, like Accurate did, you just saw he's unstoppable with those super minion waves, because all of those minions are getting buffed with the resistance buff, and he also gets the resistance buff, and on top of that, also he does more damage on the Nexus.
Yeah, it's that entire setup for Hullbreaker is so detrimental when you're pushing in on a champion like that can actually push and make sure you can get those backdoors. It's very rare that we've seen that much of a backdoor in Wild Rift, but we saw it yesterday, Team Queso picking up a win. I wonder whether we'll see it in this series. My gut feeling is both Parla and Formulation are team fighting teams, and Ryu, we left off talking about supports. You mentioned Leona as a pick that you might expect. In your mind, which bottom lane, which support here has the advantage coming into this series?
Oh, that's a good question, because we just saw guys pull off a massive performance against Game Lord, and Game Lord is not an easy team to pull off, especially Shine as a support player when Hest is around here. But yesterday, we saw Trust and Rakan being fantastic against Unicorns of Love. So it's going to be super difficult to see who's actually going to outshine, because I think from the games we've seen so far, Guys and Trusty are probably in contention for the best player from that team, each of their own. So it's going to be interesting to see. Another point about the Hullbreaker, actually, I think Camille is going to be a pick today that's probably not going to go through. Acolyte showed yesterday why it's one of the best picks in the game. So I think we're probably not going to see Camille today.
So we're just about ready to go into game. We will have a little bit more time to talk in just a few minutes' time. Let's get our players onto the stage for our second series of the day. So as Formulation take to the stage for the second time in this weekend. We saw them yesterday going up against Unicorns of Love, making their way past pretty convincingly, but there were a few moments, a few issues. I am a Formulation gaming stan though. Hells, you cast it with me all split. I've talked about how much I love their team fighting style. What's your take on their day one performance?
They were so damn good, right? Like, we know they have a new roster, but it doesn't even feel like it. They're such an incredible team. They pulled it off perfectly, and just every single player is so good, you know? Like, sometimes you highlight players in a team, but in this team, to be honest, like, all of them are so good, Stress.
Yeah, they are. I have a couple of question marks, not based off of bad performance, but, you know, we got to look at top lane, right? Zawa swaps into the role. It is a different role. DB, your thoughts on Zawa's first performance?
I mean, I think he did a pretty solid job overall, and he's still getting used to being a top laner, and he's for the first time playing top lane in a LAN event. So even though he might not have the greatest insane hard carry performance. I think overall he did a solid job, and coming in now on the second day, I think he will feel more comfortable and probably perform better than beforehand.
I think so as well. I think so as well. And we're not quite ready to get into game yet. Just as you see, the players have just about got on to stage. So I'm not going to let you change your predictions. But with Parla's performance in our first series of the day, down the line, Ryu, do you stand by your prediction at the beginning of the day of Formulation?
I absolutely stand by my prediction. We saw them yesterday absolutely demolish Unicorns of Love. We have yet to see weaknesses from them, and I think Parla has to pull another miracle to maybe even take a game of Formulation. I would say 2-0 Formulation.
My opinion is different though, Ryu, because in the beginning I also voted Formulation Gaming as a very easy win, but after seeing that performance from Parla, man, I gotta give them credit, and I gotta give them, you know, like a part of the prediction for them to win as well. Like, if honestly I could redo my prediction, I would predict Parla to win.
Interesting. I'm not going to let you change the graphic. We're not
No, I can't.
You're on record with that, DV. Which boat are you in now?
I think I'm still gonna go for Formulation Gaming. Beforehand, I was like, it's gonna be easy 2-0 for them, but after the performance Parla showed against Gamelord, playing so amazingly well, it could honestly go either way, but I'm still gonna go for the 2-1 for Formulation Gaming, because they do have some strategies left, and I'm excited to see how they're gonna put it off against Parla Gaming.
Interesting. I have a little bit more faith in Parla now. I agree with a lot of the sentiment here about how much better Parla looked. I think Formulation have a lot of room to grow still. We mentioned, you know, the swap of Zhao up to the top side. I think Trust looked great. I kind of want to see Formulation push a little bit more and give Zhao even more presence in top lane. Like, he played Gragas yesterday. It looked good. It looked fine. But we've got our key points for this series coming into it. We're going to start a little bit with the Baron lane battle. We just touched on Zhao. I think realistically this we thought was going to be a one Baron laner group with Lonely Kid, but this is a lot more interesting, right? Like, Zhao, I think, has some opportunity to make some plays against
I
Parla.
think he didn't have the chance to shine with the hyper carry pick so far, because he went on that Gragas recently, and I feel like both Cyrex and Zur, they can both play both styles of being on a strong champion, like maybe a Riven or Camille or Darius, but also like on those tanky champions like Garen and Gragas. So we will see what type of strategy both teams are gonna go for, and if they're gonna focus on Zur or Cyrex and gonna play around them.
Hells, you and I have casted a lot of Formulation games throughout the split, and Dawn has been a focus for many teams, putting a lot of presence around that mid lane. Is that the key to beating them?
I would say so, yeah. You know, I think the Dawn is, you know, I said all of them are really good, but the Dawn can shine, right? Like, we've seen him shine on the picks like the Yasuo, the Irelia especially, and like Irelia especially, because he beat out those bigger teams as well on his Irelia. So I definitely think Parla is going to be target banning the Dawn especially, but what are you going to be target banning against him? He can play it all.
He can play it all, and Irelia might even get stolen away, right? We've seen it out of the jungle, so he doesn't quite get that secure pick for himself every time. And coming into this, we built this segment thinking, okay, this would be the decider of the group. This would definitely determine who was going to take that third place. But Ryu, the performance from Parla, I think, has thrown a lot of us a little off guard, and perhaps if Formulation can upset Gamelord later today, this might even determine who comes first in the group, and Parla may even edge their way into the second spot as well.
And this group is super interesting because yesterday both WREC and Team Queso looked fantastic. Getting first in this group might not even be the best thing, because WREC is the stable team, Team Queso is really aggressive. Which playstyle do you prefer playing against the most? So even though this is probably the decider who's going to get through as the second seed, I mean, maybe the first seed isn't even the best.
Yeah, at this point, this group is a whole lot closer. I thought Group A was going to be the group of death with both Queso and WREC, but I mean, these two teams have shown over this weekend they have a little bit more of a different flair to what we were coming in and expecting, and it seems like recent practice has done both of them very well. It's an interesting position for them to be in. We're going to get into game in a few minutes' time. First of all, we're going to head over to Stuart, who's sitting by with Formulation.
Thank you very much, Stress. Yes, I'm indeed joined by Mavilla, who is the coach of Formulation. Mavilla, kind of your thoughts on yesterday? Obviously, you beat Unicorns of Love. You got into this group. We thought that this group was going to be a bit of an interesting one, with obviously Gamelord being the first seed, but now with Parla in the previous series as well, you're going to be up against them as well. What's your thoughts on Parla going into the series?
Parla performance in the last series has been kind of impressive for what I expected from them. So I'm actually kind of curious to see what they bring up.
Awesome, awesome. And then on the flip side, Game Lord as well. I think most people would say pretty disappointing. What are your thoughts yourself about Game Lord?
I don't think it's more like disappointing. I think that they are still adapting to the stage itself. It's the first match that they are playing now. So let's take it like a test. I'd expect them their true performance on the series against us in the next match.
And me and Stress were talking a little bit as well that there could be a potential that with Game Lord maybe not doing too well, Parla as well, you could potentially get the first seed. Obviously, you're going to be against maybe either WREC or Queso in the semi-finals. If you was to pick one of the two, who would you prefer to play against?
I'd rather prefer to play against Queso, to be honest.
Awesome, awesome stuff. Thank you very much, Mavilla. Good luck in this game. And we'll go back to the casters to get us into game.
Thank you very much, Stuart, and welcome. I'm gonna be your play-by-play in this game. I'm joined by Cameron, and I have to say that I'm super excited about this Parla versus Formulation. Parla comes in here with a lot of pressure on their shoulders.
I mean, you come from losing a series 2-1 versus a team that has been the most hyped up, and now you have to get right afterwards into another series with a team that has been classified as the underdog, but are still given quite a lot of chances, a lot of trust.
Yes.
So I think I'd be super nervous.
I will be super nervous, but maybe you can take all the momentum before the third game versus Game Lord and put it into this series, because the fact, and they were discussing before about it in the analysis desk, it's like the question Stress made. Would you change your predictions right now after watching what Parla can do? You voted Parla.
Yes, I did.
You voted Parla, but I really don't think Formulation is that favorite for now. After what Parla have done, I don't think so.
I think they were favourites yesterday just because it's the team that we know.
Yes.
But as Unicorns of Love, people were like Formulation. But today again, they're facing Parla. And if it wasn't because we've seen Parla performing so well, people will still be like, Formulation, of course.
Yes.
I mean, granted, the changes in the roster and the lane swaps have worked miraculously well. They were good before, but
yes,
amazingly well for them. But hey, who knows? I mean, we've seen a different side from Gay Love that we wouldn't expect in. Who knows if Parla can turn this around again?
Question is, how are you going to approach the game if you are Formulation Gaming, if you are Parla? Because yesterday we get to see a bright side from Formulation Gaming, and it's all about the dawn usually because the Aurelia, the aggressive pace and stuff. But Theke played amazingly with the Tristana. He got the MVP, and it was for a reason.
Yeah, and the Tristana, the looks as well, picks that we're not so used to seeing nowadays particularly, but I am hoping that we get to see more of them. One of the things that for me are the best about Formulation Gaming is their innovation, the capacity to create new drafts and new compositions that can...
They're creating a formula.
Yeah, exactly. Hey!
No pun intended.
Yeah, exactly. And it allows them to create so many plays that the team that they are playing against doesn't expect. But no, we've got the first one of the series. It's gonna be an Akali. Wow.
And the second one is going to be, let me think about it, it's going to be Karma. Do you think so? You're going to think, yeah, here comes Karma. Yeah, ultra permaban. I think it is 100% punch rate so far in the finals. I mean, it's extremely broken, and it's a reason it's like a mandatory ban from the red side.
What do you think will happen if they allowed Karma to go through for once?
This is a good question, actually, because sometimes these kind of champions, you don't have the chance to practice them because they are so broken, they are always bound to win. And I've seen plenty of these situations happening in League of Legends, actually, because like, yeah, the power pick is open. What do I do now? I didn't get to practice it. Do I pick it and flip it?
They pick it and lose. But, I mean, we hopefully will see Karma at some point in the competition, but now we have to move on to these Gragas. We saw it in last series, Parla played it as well. Formulation saw it. I think they took note, and it's important in WREC being adaptable. The Jax is going to be out, and so is Rakan, played by Trust yesterday.
Yes.
However, we've got the first pick.
Yeah, we got to Camille, and they were discussing about this very same pick in the analysis desk, because just yesterday we get to see what Camille is capable of, and Parla is attacked their style. Guys, was so important in this Gallia. I was wondering if Formulation Gaming would ever wanting to, get Parla away of that pick, but they got Gallia, they got all of for Bobby probably, and this is, this is firepower. You get to some crazy team fights with these two picks.
I think it's one of the best synergies in the entire game, and if they manage to get a Lulu, for example, that would be crazy with Empowered, Ragnarok and the Wild World. But still, we've got Jace here, and Jace has been another champion that has been consistently banned and all picked during this past games.
Yes.
I think the statistics are close to 90% probably, and again, depends on the one route you want to go, if you want to go with PAD. But what we know is that they are gonna have that Leona to protect the entire composition, and with the Camille Hex ultimating on the solar platform Leona, you can create quite a good play there.
Yeah, definitely. That's a very interesting combo. But in this situation, the Galio, you know, gathers even more importance. It's gonna be the cookie probably for Katsu in the dragon lane. You got, you know, the aggressiveness with the Olaf. You get to have these amazing engagements that we get to see from Kais with the Galio. I love, you know, Galio is such a round champion, you know, he does everything. In my opinion, he's good with Camille and he's good against Camille, because you jump to somebody with the Hexic ultimate and here comes Galio to save his partner.
Exactly, with the ground, with Hero's entrance, it's so useful when you've got this type of champions in front of you, because you kind of know what your limits are.
Yes.
And I also think with the Galio ultimate and Olaf, you can clean the first, the front lines, and then you go in with Coke in the Valkyrie, and you can end up cleaning more. However, that can be a double-edged sword if they don't execute that properly. Now we have to see the next bans. We've got the 6 played a lot by Feko, and the Riven, so powerful in the last series, not gonna be there in this game.
Yeah, definitely. The Riven. The River is run away from Formulation. You're respecting what Nagros can do with this champion. We get to see it in the previous series, and Graves has been taken off the board as well. It's going to be Diana for Parla, and they were all about the team fighting, the firepower. You know, you're going to have a huge neutral objective setup with the package, with the Gallios, the Hero's entrance, and also the moonfall from Diana. I really watching that Parla stuff, and for me, they are on their comfort zone.
Absolutely, you've got them there. Diana was played by Nacros in this finals versus NASA Esports. It's one of his best picks. However, we've got Tristana coming back for Formulation Gaming, and it worked quite well yesterday. So again, it's like comfort picks for both teams, which means that there's actually a matchup of true skill. Which team is the best one out of these two?
Yeah, maybe with. Oh, this is gonna be Ari further on in the mid lane. You know, Ari is such a highlight champion. You know, you can go in, go out with the ultimate, with the Spirit Rush as well. Now Parla have the last pick, and they need to, you know, I don't know how to say it. They need to undo those flex picks. They need to decide where the Diana is gonna be, where the office is gonna be. They need to run the composition. It's gonna be Renekton probably for Cyrax. And I really love what they have done, what they have brought into the table with this draft. Formulation Gaming has quite a challenge in front of them. They will need to respect. They really need to respect Parla's aggressiveness. This was, you know, this was a bad movement from the side of Game Lord in the second game. They didn't get to respect Parla's aggressiveness in the other.
I think so. When you come from win the first game, you think, okay, I did this, I just have to win one more game, and then you kind of extend, which is what happened to them, just kind of disrespecting them so much.
Yes.
But in this one matchup, I think both teams are aware of what the other can offer. Mobila was saying it himself, Ruud's side in the interview, how respectful he was
Yes.
for what Parla had done. And in this one case, if you look at both compositions, you've got Parla, which for me is quite well rounded up with the Renekton, the Olaf. They've got quite a good composition to go into team fights, into all-in, with many AoE and, you know, like, champions. Now, if you look at Formulation Gaming, I'm a little bit more skeptical about it. The Ari, I do like the pick. I'm not entirely sure of how they're gonna execute that. I'm hoping Tristana doesn't go through certain phases that she went through yesterday. Where Fiko just threw her with a rocket dump.
Yes.
And it wasn't beautiful.
There are two sides on Tristana. Sometimes it's a champion that can perfectly 1v9 when she's absolutely fit. And sometimes it's like my mind is telling me no, but my body is demanding me to jump forward, be melee. And that's absolutely dangerous. But guys, we're jumping into the Parla versus Formulation Gaming. A lot of pressure on Parla's shoulders because a defeat would mean they go home.
Yeah, because if they lose this one series, they're going to be 0-2, and they know this. That's what they post. Actually, don't know what they post, but we'll know shortly. I think they must be, you said before, but under so much pressure. I'm just hoping that both teams can, like, Formulation Gaming still has one bullet in,
Yes.
they still can come back from that. But for Parla, this must be like, wow, like life or death right now.
Yeah, literally do or die, literally swim or swing for Parla Esports. Yeah, if Formulation takes this series, that would mean that Parla is out of Formulation with battle Game Lord for the first seed. The first part of the Group B. That would be amazing, but I really don't want to count Parla out because that would be so sad considering they put up such a huge fight onto the favorite of one of the favorite teams to win this tournament. I mean, you have to respect them.
I mean, whatever happens today, whether they win or lose, I think for tomorrow we can see many changes in the adaptation from the teams.
Yes.
Like that, definitely many notes to be taken both by us and by them. And also, Formulation Gaming makes it. I don't think. There are many possibilities, but it's gonna be a change for sure from what we've seen in the past few days, due to how many innovative, creative things that we've been coming up with, new picks that are coming back, players that are popping off where they usually wouldn't, like Acolyte, for example. He will be usually be excited. Why am I talking about Acolyte again? I don't know. Don't ask me, Noah.
I mean, I remember Acolyte like being super excited in the calls, like celebrating so much the good plays yesterday. And talking about players that popped off yesterday, be wearing here because Feka is being punished. Feka was one of these kind of players, superb in this Tristana yesterday that may be so important right now. And you were talking about Formulation Gaming win conditions. I will feel like they have such a good peak composition. You can be picked by Leona, then a lot of the C is gonna go on by Camille, also by this Ari. And you will have a bad time if you get lost in the river, if you get lost in the jungle, because these picks are so dangerous due to the high mobility.
Totally agree with you, and we also need to take a little bit of look at our division. Parla has been able to set a good vision around the upper side of the river, whereas Formulation Gaming is focusing more on the bot lane. You can see how Jace, so Kimia right now is doing these camps right there, close to the mid lane to the bot lane in case they are needed. And the opposite is happening here for Parla, who could be looking for a potential play right now.
Yeah, Bambi is looking for a gang in the top side, so we're respecting. This is Camille. She should be okay. Also, he fights Bambi back, but right now, Sawa, he has to respect, he has to back a bit. Dawn is rotating towards the top side as well, but they are just taking with now the Scuttle Crab.
I was about to get excited about the poor Scuttlecraft kill, but now I feel bad about it. Yeah, Kimia just rotating just quite properly, not doing just a straight top to bottom composition. In the meantime, Bambi has to recover a little bit of that experience lost while he was helping out the top lane and try to open a new window, potentially again that mid lane. I think if they have to trust someone in here, it's Nacres with the Diana, with such an assassin that can turn an entire game all the other way around. However, if they're able to do that, will be an entirely different discussion. 2 minutes in, no kills, different for WREC.
Dawn just never stops. Like, he just roams towards the tops, and now he roams once again, and Cyrex may be in a bad situation. He's exhausted under the turret. The dive may be okay. Automatic hasn't coming on, and the first blood goes to Formulation Gaming. Meow is the one taking it, but Sal ended up dying again. In the end, it's a 1-1.
I'll say something. I feel quite bad for Cyrex because in every game I've seen of his, he's always
guys, looking for the down bomb. He's down here in the bottom lane, in the dual lane. Trust is okay. Leona is just so tanky with the W, so it's fine.
Leona's so tanky, it reminds me of someone. Yeah, but I mean, in this case, no one has to waste the summoners, which is quite a good idea because we are gonna have to keep on fighting in lane. Right now, it seems like Cats and guys do have the upper hand in that bot lane, but they have to retreat quickly. Guys definitely needs his new items in order to be tanky, a little bit more powerful here for his team. And again, not much action. We had a little bit of bait, but the gold difference is minimum, just 200, which is barely nothing. Still, we see the first optimizations coming through. We can see the mana immune already on Kimiao, preparing for that scaling in the later game, expecting to see him with the accelerating gate, etc. So the cannon essentially. And Noah, I think we could be having something in our hands. Parla are setting up finally, preparing for the Herald.
Yeah, definitely. We're looking for sort of 5 in the Baron lane, but Sawa is just okay. The wave never got to crash. We're now taking the second Scott grab. Sawa may be in problems. Tyrex is trading so aggressively, and guys made its way towards Baron lane as well. But it's perfectly fine. We only got those 2 kills. Sawa is getting maybe too overconfident. Guys, looking, the taunt is coming in. You are in a very bad situation. This is a 3 versus 1 automatic testing coming through. Sour barely alive, but ended up dying, and that's another kill for Parla Esports.
It's gonna be leaving Parla with 5 team members, whereas Formulation Gaming only has 4. However, they're gonna start to split the objectives. This is good for Formulation Gaming. They didn't have to face the enemy team directly. I can still see a potential rotation from Parla to take advantage of the enemy Camille being there a little bit down.
Yeah.
But you know what? I am foreseeing
Okay,
a fight
Meow.
here.
Okay, Meow. Maybe in trouble. No, the charm was beautiful. And Vega takes the kill this time. Formulation Gaming takes the Drake, takes the kill. 2-2. Right now, Parla with the cross map taking the Rift Arrow in the Baron lane side of the map. And also the first one as well. What is this? Vega, what happened? Cookie Katsu got lost.
It was quite close, and now Formulation Gaming are free to take this board lane tower.
Sour, the action never stops. Here comes the taunt as well. This is a 1 versus 2. The hooks to the wall. Sour trying to kill Cyrex as well, trying to save himself. You need to respect the 2 versus 1, but Trust is making its way towards the Baron land side. Flash forward, Solar Flare. They had to flash away to save their lives. The Zenith Flame was not enough. Flashes were popped in here.
Yeah, it was quite a weird moment for the game in which both teams were trying to divide. You can see
What happened here?
I can see the Corki arrives, he's sporting Echo with the Valkyrie, tries to get the kill onto him, but he gets exhausted as well. The critical damage ends up killing him.
So sad, actually. If the package would have been a bit better, if he could have caught Tristana with the actual package, maybe that would be a solo kill and quite a high for Katsu. Sadly for him, it wasn't enough. He got killed. This was a really aggressive play, and it wasn't necessary. Like, you could have, you know, stopped back, and that was perfectly fine.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of like a standing here. They want kills no matter what cost, and they might find one here.
You have to fight. Huh? I mean, your ball is demanding it. Right now, we're watching Formulation Gaming trying to defend this mid tower as the Herald is summoned by Parla Esports. And you need to respect the dive potential because you have Diana, you have Galio. They could just jump over you.
But it's something that we always discuss, right? That the Galio doesn't have an exit from wherever he does. You go all in and then there's no way to come back.
They have no flash.
The same happens kind of to the Diana, except for the Luna Rush, which allows you to dash away. But if they had managed to secure this mid lane tower, that would be an incredible power spike for Parla, an incredible good thing for the macro plays.
Yes.
And look at what Formulation Gaming are doing right now, no?
Yeah, definitely hanging on this Diana. Knackers, he's so zone, but Vega jams forward so boldly. Katsu is here as well. You have no bomb. Guys in here to support his team, and the Baron tower is just okay. I think that was really a bold attempt from the side of Formulation Gaming. You had to respect that they could rotate. Bombi is in a bad situation as well here in the mid lane. The stun never came through. Trust here to save his Baron laner. Going in, that was really bold. Here comes the Nagapa as well. Why you had to go for the Solar Flare? And Islav, the one taking the kill. He goes unstoppable with the Ragnarok. Sawa doesn't want to know anything about this fight anymore. Jumps backwards with the hook. And I really think that Trust overestimated himself in here.
Oh my gosh, so Formulation Gaming right here, yes, they were stepping a little bit. Paul identifies the situation properly. They were actually in a situation where they could have lost and, you know, could have gone wrong.
Yeah, and it's been all about, you know, Formulation rotating towards the parallel side of the map. It was a problem for Parla because they hadn't, you know, the mid pressure to stop the Dun. The Dun was just moving no matter what. He never stopped in the mid lane.
I mean, and with an Ari, it's impossible to stop him. You've got plenty of skills in order to escape from those situations. Now, we're in a kind of like point where there are no objectives immediate objectives on the Rift. The towers are quite a touch up, 1 tower for each team, and now perhaps it's time to try to find an isolated kill, try to establish control over one of the objectives. The Dragon is going to be spawning sooner than the Herald, and we can see that Parla is rotating towards there to get a little bit better vision. Bambi is here on the lower side of the river, and there it is. Formulation Gaming all together. Be careful because this could be good.
Right now, Formulation Gaming has all the control over the bottom side of the river. They are cleaning the vision, and in my opinion, Bambi, no, poor Bambi. I've seen this movie, no, and it does not end well for Bambi. Right now, it's Meow the one taking the kill 2-0 for these Jays. He's strong for a K2.
I didn't quite like this one play. Oh.
Okay, right now, be wearing here. Flashback was from the side of Diana. Naggers in a bad spot. You can't respond right now, 4v5 to this Drake call. Though, I like this from Parla. You can't take the Drake, but you took the mid turret.
Yeah, I wasn't quite convinced in the beginning when they were going to save the teammate, because I thought, okay, you're just wasting time when you could just be making the Herald and do that. But now it seems like they found the mid tower and perhaps the Herald, or not.
Formulation Gaming, yes, taking the best out of the temple. The champ has been amazing. The ultimate Hexa coming through. And this is the Herald all done. Down before with the sound. Pretty good. Trust in a bad situation. Goes backwards with the thin flip and ends up being killed by this Olaf. You know, Parla hitting hard back. Oh, Zawa. Where are you going, Zawa?
I don't know.
He's backing. I think he's gonna go base. No. That was close.
They spotted him, they just weren't quick enough to reach him. And now the tables have turned a little bit, both even full kills for each one, but Parla still has the gold difference right here. And it's the time, you know, to try and retake this middle tower.
Okay, Zass is dodging the charm. That was beautiful, but the dawn goes forward once again. Rift Herald from the side of Formulation Gaming. This is gonna be mid tower for Formulation Gaming. They try to defend, but it is impossible. The Solar Flare, dodged by Zarex with the flash trading here. 4 and 4 in the kill counting, but this was such a good attempt from the side of Formulation to take this tower.
I feel like Formulation are doing a quite good job when it comes to protecting their own towers. Like, if you look at it right now, Parla have to back up. They need to find another opening, an open window for them to sneak in. But Formulation Gaming are being so strict with them that they are not allowing them to take a move out of what they want them to do. So if Parla manages to start being more aggressive and playing their own game instead of just replying to whatever Formulation is proposing, I think they can find a victory here.
He can find, definitely. The game is just so close. I mean, the goal difference is meaningless at this point of the game. But Tristana feels just so powerful. Infinity Edge. You have some Razor as well, 2 items. She's just so online right now to destroy. We discussed earlier about how Tristana, if she's fed, is a 1v9 machine.
Careful here, because talking about Tristana, she's going to be flanking the enemy team.
Okay, only the carry flanking, that's always dangerous, but jumping forward. Okay, that's brave. What did we miss? Diana takes down Meow.
What? Kimia?
What did we miss?
I actually don't know. We missed the Divine Thunder on Zawa though, which is... okay, this item heals you, deals your physical damage, depending on the HP or your enemy, but we're going to be reviewing one play where he died.
John made it alive somehow. I mean, Ari hiked mobility, it's perfectly fine, but Meow ended up being 1v2, and that's amazing for Diana. I mean, if you are supporting Parla, you want this Diana being aligned 2 items and a half. She's gonna destroy the team fights.
This was such an interesting fight. I think if you just replayed and you get asked who is gonna die here, you will say not Kimia.
No, Don.
Don.
Yeah.
Whoa, maybe the
Zawa very extended here in the Dragon lane. Yeah, you go, Golden, but can you run away from the Ragnarok power? No, you're gonna end up dying, and that's another kill. You went into full Bambi so far in this game. It feels like step by step, Parla are taking this game.
Yeah, and they're leaving the Cyrex with Renekton in the bot lane, trying to get that that first tower in the Dragon lane, while the wave is quite far away, so I don't know if they'll be able to make it.
We weren't here because you're backing in a dangerous place. Definitely guys coming here as well. For L6 in the kill, counting 3k gold diff for Parla Esports, you know, they came with a lot of pressure on their shoulders because if they lose this game, they are done. They are gone for good so far in this tournament, but they got the momentum they had back in the first series in the second game and put it into here. Formulation Gaming are facing a real tough team to deal with. I have to say, you know, we were highlighting how good Parla was, a team fighting, and so far they have Olaf in a real good spot, they have Renekton in a real good spot, and they are dominating the river.
Oh, okay, so Parla was rotating towards here, so he's doing Formulation Gaming. Now we're keeping down the back lane, so Noah, could be happening soon.
Definitely. I mean, Trust wants to go in, but guys, I saw this the last series. Once again, the flash and the down, the Hextech ultimate got about to die. Exhausted Ari got to still alive somehow. He took the double kill as well for an 8 in the kill count, and 2 guys down from the side of Formulation Gaming, and the Needle objective should be theirs. Faker with the ultimate bomb be ticking, but not dying. Shower mixing here in the river, and they sold down Parla Esports. The HP bars are really low, so low you can't mess with Camille and Tristana. But Antagonist wants to go in once again, and it was stolen from Formulation Gaming. The 3rd Drake in a row for the blue side team.
Which, I mean, this play was so good for Parla in the beginning, but
It was
then
so close.
they left Sawa alive with the Camille. We're going to be being hit. Parla doesn't have enough for compensation in order to counter all the damage
Such
that
a massive
Formulation has. And you can see that here the Katsa kills mating arrives just in time. Katsa gets real low life with the Corki. He gets a kill onto Ari, but he cannot return to the team fight, which leaves the rest of the team kind of low on life and having to retreat while Formulation are able to come back.
That was really close, but it feels like Parla were able to take the Drake, but somehow they were not feeling confident. I don't know why. They left the river. Formulation Gaming takes the objective. It was really close because Nagas wanted to go in once again, and you can feel how even Sawa being 0-3 until you have to respect the Camille. What can she do?
Poof. I mean, respect the Camille. Yeah. Sawa has been struggling so much in this one particular game.
Things happen.
Champion, yeah. I mean, they do happen, and they can be solved.
Okay.
Maybe this chance.
Okay. That was a very nice attempt to drop down Parla Esports. I was highlighting,
Whoa!
okay, there's a blade forward. They forced Pombi ultimate, so that's, I think, good enough. You traded nothing for an ultimate.
Yeah, and also Cyrex's dominance has been traded out, which basically means that Parla are going to be in a 12th spot if they really want to fight for this Baron, which has been pinged several times. But what I keep seeing in Parla is that they don't have the potential to keep on pushing different lanes.
Yes.
Only Cyrex in the Dragon lane right there alone, leaving them to be 4-1, whereas Formulation Gaming right now, they're rotating quite well.
We're in the Dragon lane because Faker is looking for Cyrax, and they're, you know, playing the mouse on the cat game. In there, finally, it's nothing is going to happen. But Parla is just want to set up for this Bourbon Nashor that we have in the Rift right now. We have Cyrax resetting. You know, the package is there for Corki to take it when necessary, but the game feels just so close. Not even 4k gold for the side of Parla. You have Tristana 2 items and a half. I mean, this is going to be one hell of a fight for Fago, taking the Raptors as well for the sake of taking that 3rd item ASAP, because you can feel it that the next fight is going to be the crucial one.
Right now, neither of these teams want to face each other, right? And now they are being very careful, just in case, you know, because as you said, the next team fight could be the last one. And if you look at the number right now, that could be fatal moving on, since the Varyn is already there. The Elder Inferno Dragon is also going to be there in a few seconds, a few minutes. So Formulation Gaming knows this. They are already preparing as a group, as a teamfight composition around this objective. Will Parla be able to stop them, or will they get killed in the meantime?
Okay, something is happening here. The Solar Flare also as well. The chat has been beautiful, and Galio was trapped down. That's another kill for Formulation Gaming, and this may be the clue, because right now Parla is in a 4v5 situation. That was a really bad spot to be trapped.
Oh, I didn't like to see it, guys. We were praising him before, but in this one game, I don't think he's shining as he used to do. Parla have to retreat, so does Formulation Gaming, even though they just perfectly full on health. And now what you're allowing to do, Sour, is to split push a little bit, clean the wave there in the barrel lane, get it to keep on pushing, and get Parla in an even more tight position where they don't have any choices but to protect the towers and or surrender the objectives. So if they're able to do it, then Formulation Gaming has won the game.
They have to come fast for this fourth Drake. Oh my god, that is going to be one hell of a fight. Because I feel like if Parla fights front to back by their own terms, they are fine. But if they are constantly being picked, you know, one charm from here, from Dawn, one Zenith play from Trust, and they just disrupt the entire game plan of Parla Esports. Right now, you have to face it your way. Oh, the charm was not good. The stasis came through from Renekton, and you forced Hero's entrance. You traded Hero's entrance, and that's massive when it comes to neutral objectives.
What was supposed to be that hero's entrance? Because Formulation Gaming didn't seem so invested in getting in. Not like now, which they seem to be looking at Parla in the eye and saying, hey, you know what? Now I can do whatever I want.
They're gonna leave it.
Go for Dragon.
They are so late right now to respond to this Drake. The reveal control is all on Formulation Gaming's side. What can you do? You have to make your path through all Formulation Gaming members. Okay, Bambi is there right now, step by step, conquering this reveal. They have to respect Katz's rockets. And Formulation Gaming is retreating, as far as I'm seeing. No one is taking this Drake.
No, this Drake is gonna be living his best life for a few more minutes as both teams reposition. I think neither of them were quite prepared. Formulation Gaming knew that by keeping on taking Dragon,
Faker.
it will be easily invaded.
Okay, Faker trying to do once again this Inferno Drake. This is a crucial right now. Parla is the layer. The Drake is going to be for Formulation Gaming, the fourth in a row. Here comes Galio, but the Drake is for Formulation Gaming. The fight, I don't know, the Stasis came through and Cyrex, the Dominics, all into the team fight. Camille wants to go away, and you know, Bombi got smashed. One versus 3, Cyrex in a problem in here. Dobson, he comes Faker in a bad situation, but still alive though. The down as the golden spear from Diana that took down this Tristan, a massive shot on for the side of Parla Esports. That they lost the Drake, but they took the team fight.
It's absolutely amazing how Parla is winning these team fights. They might lose the objectives, they might not get it.
But she lost the Drake! That is huge! That's 4 Drakes for Formulation Gaming, but right now 30 seconds away for Faker to respawn. They are taking all through the middle. They can really take this game. The Dawn is the only one alive to defend this. The Stasis came through. They will focus in the Nexus. This is gonna be Parla Esports game!
What? Oh my gosh!
What a game!
You can see it in the players' faces right now. This feels like a victory already.
I mean, it felt like Formulation was in control after that Drake, but they didn't fight it so well. Parla Esports, they took it, they killed both of them. Dawn alone wasn't able to defend the Nexus, and they took over the first game. You can't count them out. Never.
No, Parla has been doing this again and again. When you think they're out, when you think they're going to lose, they're like, wait a second, I'm here, hello everyone, I'm gonna come back, okay?
Wow. Yeah, drink water, you need that. You know, this is absolutely crazy game, the one we had, and a lot of points in here because, you know, finally, I thought it was all lost for Parla when Formulation caught Galio in the mid lane. It was a 4v5 situation. You could have, in fact, Formulation could have, you know, fought for the Drake in a 4v5 situation. So great for them, but they retreated.
They did, and that was a major mistake by them. Had they kept on doing it, they could have done something else.
Well, we really needed rest after this game, guys. So we're gonna go for a small break and see you for the second game of the series.
Let me take you higher.
me take you higher.
Until you see a breakthrough. That's right. Come on. Why? You know we're gonna break through.
Welcome back, everybody, to WREC Finals. It's day 2, and it's the day of upsets so far, as Parla have taken a game off one of Europe's best teams in Formulation. They're one of our representatives here from our WREC European playoffs and last chance qualifier stage. Stress joined on the analyst desk, this time by Darkbreaker, Carmeline, and Ryu, and that is one heck of a game to jump into. DB, I'm going to start with you. We on the analyst desk were talking off camera a little bit about Camille priority and how top looked so good for Zawa coming into this from the draft. And
I don't want to say anything bad.
I know.
But Camille is such a power pick, and usually we have seen Camille yesterday. It was all the time banned, and only in the last series she was open and she was doing so much work, and that's why it's so surprising that Zawa on the Camille was pretty underperforming against the Renekton, because usually in that matchup Camille is so strong. She's outscaling with the Sandra and the Blade of the Rune King, so she wants to split push, but instead she's getting pushed in. She's losing those 1v1s against the Renekton, and Renekton was 3000 gold ahead at one point, doing such an amazing work. But I feel like he could have maybe went for the Hullbreaker as well. I know Renekton is a strong team fighter, but he could have pushed that advantage even more, get the teleport as well, and then he can always push in the Camille. She cannot join those team fights, not pick off people with the ultimate, which she still did, and still had the pick on that Galio. But with the teleport and with that Hullbreaker, you can create 5 vs 4 situations and push so many turrets.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'll be the one to say it. I think everybody saw it. There were a few mechanical issues there as well, whether it's just being adapting back onto stage or, you know, Camille. To be honest, Camille is a tricky champion to kind of pick up if you haven't played a lot of Camille recently. And again, Zawa swapped up to the top lane role from being support for a while. So while we know that Zawa likely has Camille in his practice champion pool, this game did not look great, and I think it's going to adjust in the draft for Game 2, at least in a little bit. We all talked about how Galio was a strong pick, and Ryu, the Galio, having a lot of impact here, especially around objectives and team fights, I would say, for Parla.
I would like to quote Health Double here on the Dragon fight. That was a deja vu. Again, Galio just with a flash, taunt, amazing 4-man ult. I mean, a 4-man taunt. But that fight was actually a really sloppy fight from Parla. Bambi immediately pressed the Sonya's Hourglass. Katsa got caught out by the Leona and then used the packers in the wrong direction. I think this game is actually. I think that the theme of this game was sloppy mistakes from both teams. Saw a lot of mechanical errors. Kima with a lot of wrong directions he went. Bambi with the pathing was quite odd in the late game, and even Katse with some weird packages. I think both games had ups and downs during the game, but I think both actually teams were really sloppy.
Yeah, I kind of agree, and I don't necessarily like saying that so much, but I think it's worth saying it when it is true, and in this series, the first game, it definitely was. Carmeline, have you caught your breath yet? Because that was one heck of an ending to a game.
I know, but it's still, I mean, it was in a bug though, so I still have a little bit of time to process it. However, I should say, I'm expecting more from the teams. As Ryu was saying, I feel like it was kind of missing something. They can be much more polished in the team play, which they weren't. However, I would say Parla's team fights were quite good. Something's improved.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
Parla's team fights were great, and as we check out the play of the game, I have a feeling it's going to be the point of the game where Formulation had basically won the game. Like Elder with 4 dragons, and DB, you and I were like, just back away after you get it.
Elder is so amazing, but now
it's like
FG is just turning on them.
Go away.
Just wait for a bit. Now they have to back off. But they're overstaying. It's a Zao and the Kami overstaying, and now the others are going to be chased down. It's actually funny how it's like, they can end it. They can just end it. Everyone else was like, nah, they can't end it. Ari can solve it. But look at the wave there, and they just pushed in the mid wave and get it. It's actually crazy. Look at how hyped they are. I can honestly just agree with it. Having 4 Dragon Elder is basically a death sentence. You just win it, but they stayed too long. They were too aggressive. If they just backed off, reset it, I think they would have won. But that's how it happens.
When an opposing team gets 4 dragons, you have one window to win the game, and that is fired immediately after you use the abilities on the dragon. The one thing Formulation should not do is stay after the dragon.
Right.
That's the one thing they did. And again, it really comes down to this: the sloppy mistakes from all around the map.
Yeah, because it was a 4v4, if I'm not mistaken, in that situation. So Formulation's way of playing is like, you reset off that fight, pressure around Baron, and you know you're stronger in the team fight. You know that there's no real way that Parla can actually take that fight, but now that we've learned, Parla will always take the fight. Carmeline, like, heading into a game 2, team fighting seems to be the name of the game. Is there any changes you want to see from Formulation in order to kind of take on Parla?
First of all, I'd have to the style that Parla is proposing. I know for teams it's always difficult to kind of surrender their own pride and be like, okay, I have to pay close attention to what the rival is doing. But for me, that's something that they really have to do. The second one being Camille out of that draft, please. No, thank you. I don't want to see Camille ever again in that one. And of course, yes, once again, we know how well Formulation Gaming can do things.
Right.
They need better communication.
Yes, I mean, Formulation, we've seen a lot of playstyles out of Formulation. There's been a lot of pressure on the Aurelia in this draft. We've seen a lot of different things. Ryu, what's your thoughts heading into a game 2 that puts a lot of pressure on Formulation now in this series?
It puts a lot of pressure on them because they were the team that made this role swap. They put Sawa into the top lane, and they were the first pick, and they picked Camille. When you pick a first pick, it's because this is something we want to play around. They played around it, and it was honestly not working. Yesterday, we saw Acolyte on how well he played around this Camille pick. He was really a menace to be reckoned with. And honestly, it just straight up didn't work out for Formulation. I think they need to change that draft a little bit because Sawa has proven in this particular game he did not live up to the expectations of a carry top laner. And watching him, honestly, just wasn't that good. And Darkbreaker, what do you think of this top lane matchup? Do you think
I think he really needs to go for those maybe different places. Go for the weak-siding top laners again.
Like Gragas yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like Formulation Gaming, when they play around Don, is just working better. Put Don on a hyper carry and Zawa on a more supporting tank top lane. And also, I want to see Trust step up a little bit more. On that Rakan, he was amazing, but I feel like on that Leona, he didn't find those engages like he did on that Rakan. So both Zawa and Trust, if they step up and have a good synergy with Don, I think they can definitely do pretty well against them.
I think a few changes there in the draft. I think it's worth talking about the stakes of where this goes now, because Parla winning this game means Formulation would need to beat Game Lord in their series later today in order to force a 3-way tie. We, of course, have seen a lot from Katsa and Fekko, the AD carries. They'll have a lot on their shoulders coming in to this game. Fekko, I can actually think that's probably his feeling at the end of the last game in the way he looks. Like, that was me, for sure.
He's like, my team is grieving me. his face.
He actually had one insane highlights this game. Did you guys notice when he had that Tristana bomb onto Katsu? Katsu flew in.
That damage was crazy.
That was like 45% HP in one tick.
Yeah, it was insane, but to recap the stakes. So Parla win, the only way Formulation can advance is with a 3-way tie. If Formulation win, unfortunately, and this would be a Formulation win the series. They have to win both games now back-to-back and reverse sweep this best of 3. If Formulation win, Parla are unable to qualify because they lost to Game Lord in earlier series today. So all-important Game 2 coming up. Parla in the advantageous position, and we saw them play very well against Game Lord. Carmeline, I've got to feel like Parla will be riding a wave of momentum now into Game 2.
I think Parla does have a problem, an issue. In the finals versus NASA, they were winning 2-0, and then NASA took 3 games out of them. Same happened versus Sangal, except in that case they managed to come back. So I think Parla tends to have really good first games, and then suddenly it's like the second game, something happens, I don't know why, but they lose the momentum we were talking about. If they win the first one.
Focus or too much, too confident.
Maybe,
happens.
I mean, but at this point you will think after so many series win the first game and this
that's true.
You will prepare better for that. But whatever happens, you can still, if they have to go home now, you can also think, I took a game off Game Lord.
Well, we've seen Parla have a pretty good read on the team fighting meta. They've done the unthinkable and upset Game Lord in one game. They've got one advantage in this series against Formulation. Let's see if they can close it out 2-0 and advance to the playoffs, or whether Formulation can tie this series up as we head to our casters.
Thank you very much, Stress. We are here for the second game of Parla versus Formulation Gaming, and I'm joined by Hell's Devil. Do you believe in reverse sweeps?
I believe in reverse sweeps, but I also believe in Parla Gaming. As I said, right, like after that first series, I believe in Parla Gaming, and as well, like this is exactly, well, it's what I expected, but they won in such a crazy way. I believe in reverse sweeps, but I believe more in Parla.
You believe more in Parla. You said you would have changed your prediction.
I would have, yeah. I would have. If I could, I would have, but of course I can't. But like we predicted in the beginning of the day, and then that's what it is.
The graphics guy would have killed you. You get to change your prediction. I mean, but it was one hell of a series. This first one and the second one is not disappointing at all. But the fact is that it felt like Formulation somehow got in control of the game. But one team fight from Parla was everything.
They were in full control, actually. Like we were talking about it backstage. Parla was playing better. Micro-wise, they had good fights, they had good catches, but somehow, some way, they still lost every single dragon. They lost the 4th Elder Dragon as well. And we gotta stop talking because we're gonna get into the picks and bans. And we all know this is one of the most important parts where some games are already won, Noah.
Yeah, oh my god, yeah, the draftings, you know, you win the game through the draft, but I don't know, I don't believe in that. I believe in players, you know, I believe in drafting and playing all around your way and conditions, because I've seen plenty of pros in my entire career, but we are going to all straight into the second draft. It's gonna be so important, you know, you were mentioning those team fights around the Drake. In my opinion, Katsu was massive in that last one, because you got to see how many damage those rockets were dealing.
Yeah, for sure. So that's the Corki on Katsu. I believe every single game, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe every single game Katsu picked Corki, which may even be banned out in one of these games. But another interesting thing is Formulation Gaming, who lost the first game, chose the red side. They didn't choose the blue side, so the Camille priority is apparently not there. Well, I get it now after Zhao's performance on the first game, of course, right? And we can see Parla is not banning the Camille this time yet again. Yes. They're like, we don't care. You know, you pick Camille, we don't care. We're gonna counter it. Parla, there it is. Formulation bans the Camille.
Yeah, definitely. And you said about the Corki. After 4 games, he played 3 Corkis and 1 Senna.
One Senna, indeed.
One Senna.
Yeah, and they lost the Senna game, unfortunately. I feel this is perhaps a bit of a weakness of Parla. Ooh, they do get the Gragas, however. And Gragas every single game. Like, first pick or second pick or ban. Like, I don't believe we've seen him get further into the draft. Maybe once, maybe twice. But Gragas is such a power pick. You can pick it anywhere. And Formulation doesn't know what to pick against us. Like, this is the problem when you pick red side and blue side picks a champion like the Gragas who can be flexed everywhere and who can't really be countered as well, Noah.
It's like so easy to first pick it, you know? Quadriflex it, you can place it everywhere. You can even give it to guys, but I'm feeling I have the feeling that guys is gonna play once again the Galio if it's open. It is for now. We're having the Shinzao, and this is an interesting picking here. We're gonna have the Jace as well that can go also to 3 different positions. It's not the first time today we get to see the Shinzao. What do you think about
So
this?
Xin Zhao is a very strong champion. He's very strong in the early game, but I feel he's not a champion that you want to pick this early in the draft. Like, I know Kim Yao, he's incredibly good at Xin Zhao, especially him. Like, we saw him in the WREC earlier. He's very, very good at the champion, but picking him this early, exactly, as we expected, the Galio, guys on the Galio just destroyed even Heste. Like, he won against Heste with the Galio, and that is such a big thing to do, and he was essentially the part that won them this game. He was the one that engaged, and Nakwas on the Riven as well, Noah.
Yeah, this is massive. The Riven was won away the first game of the series.
And picked away by Game Lord in the last series as well.
Yeah, they did, and this we're having this high priority on the Riven. That's all on Nakras because he was what 8-0 in the second game.
Yeah, he was 8-0, and in this draft as well, Riven is one of those champions that works incredibly well into the Xin Zhao, because even though Xin Zhao can push you away, Riven can re-engage, and she deals damage in the close range. So after he pushes her away, she goes right back in. She has 4 dashes, and she should be able to deal with the Xin Zhao now.
The 2 games we got the Riven, we got plenty of highlights. Like the Nakras one, he got several solo kills as well in the Dragon lane when they were just pushing. We have the Nami, which is interesting because you have a lot of disengage with the ultimate, but I really don't know if that's gonna be enough. And that's it. You were discussing about Katze on Koki, not happening this game.
Exactly, and this is, I really like this from Formulation Gaming. There it goes. Like, I really like this as well. They're essentially banning away some of the champions that Katze is really good at, which is the Corki and the Varus. So Formulation Gaming has done their homeworks even against a team like Parla Esports. So now Parla Esports gets put in a spot where Katse has to be forced to pick some of the champions that he may not be as good at. And as we can see, like, he played the Morgana as well. He played a lot of Morgana. We haven't seen it yet here on the live event, but is he gonna pull off the Morgana, Noah?
I really don't know, because in my opinion, you have plenty of AP damage. You have the Gragas, you have the Gallia. Maybe Morgana is too much. Maybe he can pull out once again the Senna. That maybe, you know...
Senna, exactly. Senna hasn't even been banned.
Yeah,
Senna hasn't even been banned. And another champion that he really likes is the Brand. So, Fiora pick. So, I like this Fiora pick. And I was also talking with the Dawn actually backstage, like, why did you pick Fiora there? You know, I said it's because of all the melee champions. He said it's the perfect draft. And as we look into this draft as well, Gragas melee, Galio melee, Riven melee. These are all melee champions, although it's a bit early in the draft now, because now Parla can still pick ranged champions, which can kite Fiora.
Yeah, definitely, and that would be so important. We were discussing about the Senna, and maybe it's gonna pull out after. Oh, it's gonna be Morgana. I feel a bit disappointing, I have to say.
Yeah, the thing is, right, like, I hate to say it like this, but I honestly feel like Katze has, like, a few comfortable picks, right? Like the Morgana, like the Senna, like the Varus, and I forgot, like the Corki. And if you don't put him on one of those champions, you know, he may not perform as well. So what Parla's doing right here, they're putting him on his comfort pick, which is the Morgana right here, just to be able to, you know, do fine, do pretty well. Although, like, the thing is, Morgana is not necessarily the best pick into Kim Yao on the Xin Zhao, because she deals so much ranged damage, but she won't do any damage when he uses his ultimate.
Yeah, definitely. And they run the composition with the Graves, which is not, you know, the highest ranged champion in the game. But this is interesting. Yeah, I really don't know, because you have a pretty interesting combos back in the previous Parla's games. You had, you know, the Camille Gallia, you have Javan Gallia as well, but you didn't have that, you know, reliable source of engage in this draft that you can follow with their Gallia's heroes entrance. And Formulation brought out this Lucian. We saw it in the battle lane. I don't know, I think it's gonna be Dragon Lane with Nami. Maybe. And
I really like this draft from Formulation Gaming. The Fiora is
really
just such a good pick into this composition, and also the Lucian. And you can clearly tell that Formulation Gaming was not only watching the last series, they were watching it and taking notes. They were taking notes like, okay, wait a minute, Parla wins by guys engaging on that Galio. What do? We get Xin Zhao to push him out. We get Fiora to deal with it. We get Nami to ult him, and we get Lucian to disengage. So Formulation Gaming has done their homework, watching the last series, and now actually doing a very, very good job in the draft, Noah.
Absolutely agree, and these you have a lot of firepower when it comes to Formulation Gaming. You have the tools to put the one-on-one so far in the series, and this is so important considering that Parla were the ones with the pressure on their shoulders after losing this series versus Game Lord, even though they were so close. But the fact is that if you lose this one, you go home straight, no matter what. they came with beautiful ideas, you know, putting up such a huge fight versus Formulation Gaming. And now the Formulation Gaming has the pressure that, you know, they come with this beautiful draft.
Exactly, they come with this beautiful draft. So even though this is Parla Gaming's last opportunity to get back, as in they have to win this to have a chance.
They have another chance, yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, you can't really say the same about Formulation because they still have one more series, but they're up against Game Lord in the next
Yeah,
series,
it's
right?
a difficult series.
It would be very comfortable for them to win this, to just secure their spot. Because if they do lose this against Parla, they have to win against Game Lord, Noah.
Oh my god, and that would be so much pressure. You have to win versus the favorite to win the tournament. Oh, what's going on? We have action since the first second of the game. Beware with Bambi because it's dashing forward. The fact is that I remember the second game versus Game Lord and Parla, and you know, you were not that much excited about the Riven coming out so soon. And the fact is that it's not going to be for Nacros. It's going to be for Bambi.
It's going to be for Bambi indeed, and they're putting Nacros on the Graves instead, which I find very interesting. And the Dawn is playing the Fiora in the mid lane as expected. He was talking about it being a very specific power pick, only into a very specific composition, which I feel is this composition of Parla. And if someone can pull off the Fiora in the mid lane, Noah, it is going to be the Dawn.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Dawn, such aggressive picks. Bambi coming here in the Dragon lane. The bunny has been amazing. Cross still alive, but not for so soon. That's going to be the first blood, and it's going to be for Riven.
And it is perfect because they forced out the flash from Trust in the early game, and now Bambi is like, yeah, we got your flash already, and fully focused on Trust right there. They even completely ignored Fecker right there and just hard-focused Trust on the Nami, securing themselves the free kill already.
Yeah, definitely. Nami is such a volatile champion, you know, it's so squishy. She can collapse on her so easily. Yeah, she has tons of disengage, but after level 5, right now you were relying on a beautiful, you know, first ability, but it's not gonna happen. Meow is just making its way towards the bottom lane of the bottom side of the map, but it was a very, very, very smart movement from Parla.
And it is crazy to me that Bambi on the Riven is actually, you know, doing this much work in the early game up against Kim Yao on the Xin Zhao, who is known to be a very, very solid early game champion. You know, although Parla did get the kill on the bot lane, Formulation Gaming is getting both Scuttle Crabs, which is actually okay, because in the very recent patch, the Scuttle Crabs don't give as much experience right now. Because as you can see, as Kim Yao is last hitting it, we're not going to see it, but he's not going to get that much experience from it, right? Like, he's not going to be able to power himself to level 5, because in the previous patch, he would have been level 5 by now. But now he's not, and Parla got that first blood.
Parla got that first one, and that's, you know, the right path to take the second game. You really want to feed the Riven, you really want to feed her, and now she's so ahead in the match versus Meow. Though it's so early in the game, I mean, I feel like Katse and guys are just gonna, you know, stay in the ball lane, clear waves. The binding from Katse was massive to lock Trust down and not making him able to escape. But you have to respect the couple, the duo that are Lucian and Nami. They can play so aggressive in the Dragon lane.
And the thing about Nacros on the Graves right there, now I'm starting to understand the pick a little bit better, because Graves is one of those champions that can push out a wave insanely fast. So he will always have lane priority up against the Dawn on the Fiora, which is going to be very important during the first objective, which is going to be spawning in 1 minute. So Nacros is going back right. No, he's not going back. I was just gonna say it's a bit too early to go back because he needs to get you know, enough gold to get that first item. But Fekko is trying to look for a fight, although not much is happening. Like right now, everyone is shaking hands, everyone is farming. But I would say this is good for Parla, as they have the stronger late game jungler.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I have to say that even though the first game was a defeat for Formulation Gaming, Fekko is popping off no matter what so far in the tournament. The 2 games versus Unicorns of Love, he was massive. He was pretty good as well on the Tristan in the last game, and you can really feel that he wants to win. He wants to take this second game, and he needs to push forward to get a priority in the Dragon lane and be able to fight over the first neutral objective. In the top lane, I mean, the Baron lane is not that much of exciting. You have the Gragas who's gonna, you know, tank everything. Sour is going to push him into the tower. And the first referral is here, and this means that teams are willing to fight over this.
And so many people are looking to get that first power item, as you can see. Lucian, I believe, he's like, Fekko is waiting for the Storm. There it is. He was waiting for the Storm Razer to get it. We can see Bambi with the Black Cleaver. We can see Katse with the Luden's Echo. A lot of players already have these powerful items. Cyrex as well, getting the Rod of Ages, and I feel Parla may be stronger than Formulation Gaming right here.
Yeah, definitely. Parla's issues in the first game were the Dragons, so right now they are willing to do their homework, even though Formulation Gaming made its way into the river and forced them out. You can give away the first one. That beautiful Aqua Prism, by the way, from the side of Trust, but it's not gonna be enough. The river right now is absolutely abandoned. I think if you're Formulation Gaming, maybe you're not that bad giving away this first Drake. Maybe you want better the Reef Herald that gives you the extra push.
And I agree exactly to what you said, because Formulation Gaming does have Zaur on the Hullbreaker, and he went for the Hullbreaker as his very, very first item, which is a risk to take, because essentially you're making yourself weaker in team fights, but he's not playing it like you should, because he's constantly sticking with the team, and Cyrex is trying to cheese away this dragon.
Yes.
We know Gragas can do this, but I don't really like how Formulation Gaming is approaching this, because even though they take the mountain, are they gonna take it though?
Oof,
yeah, there it is.
Oh, this massive gas came right to the last moment, but Parla was making the Rift Herald. They have it summoned in the bottom lane side of the map. Formulation Gaming though pushing towards the Dragon lane, playing the crossmat, and in the aftermath, I would say that Formulation Gaming is pretty fine with this.
I would say they're pretty fine with this, or sorry, you would say they're pretty fine with this, but I would say not necessarily. They could have gotten more out of it by having Zaur split push, potentially getting a turret, and then forcing Parla to split up and go for Zaur. And
We were here. The Aqua Prism missed from Trust, but they got this tower like so weakened right now. Dawn in problems. 2v1 using the ultimate to try to run away. Meow trying to help. The Pyre has been amazing. Meow jumping into Guys. Guys may be in problems. Cyrex Guy has flashed away. He'll force as well to. In the 2v2, they were really, really close. And I would have said that Dawn was done, but he played it beautifully.
And this is a very even game. Both teams sitting on 21k gold, and both teams taking an objective, both teams taking a turret. This is a very even game, Noah.
This is a very even game, but it happened the same in the first one. The goal was really, really close. It was meaningless, but in the end, even though Formulation Gaming was the one taking the neutral objectives, it was all about one team fight, and this is where Parla excels. We've been saying it during all day. You have to respect Parla when it comes to the 5v5. The fact is that they excel in those 5v5 when they force them in their terms, when they are the ones engaging. So they really need to be aware of Formulation Gaming if they want to play through the silence. You are watching right now Dawn pushing into Dragon lane. You were mentioning it's our Hullbreaker. So maybe Formulation Gaming for this game are like, we don't need to fight.
And the interesting thing about Parla is they're playing way better around the objectives, because that was a point that Rio brought up, right? Like, Parla was playing better, but they're losing objectives. This game, however, it was Parla that played the objective game a tad bit better. They were able to get the Rift Herald, they were able to nearly push the second turret as well. So this time, right, like they're doing a little better than the first game, where they lost every single dragon and the Rift Herald, while they were actually dominant throughout the game.
And I'm watching Formulation Gaming, playing more in the same page in this second map, because we were discussing the first day about the roster changes, about if that was going to be much of an issue for Formulation Gaming, and they seem to be quite in the same page. But today it feels like I'm feeling the synergy problems,
And what I'm expecting from Parla to do right here is to have Nakras build a Hullbreaker second item, even though he's the mid laner, switch lanes with Cyrex, put Cyrex in the mid lane, and then have Nakras beat out Zaur. Because Nakras is playing Graves, who's known to be a very strong 1v1 champion, and him being up against Zaur, the Hullbreaker against the Hullbreaker, allows him to nullify the Hullbreaker from Zaur, and it should allow him to win the 1v1 as well.
Let's see if they go for that, actually, as a second item. Oh, beautiful Aqua Prism, the collapse! And that was a massive pick from Formulation Gaming. Now, guys may be in trouble. The second ability of Meow was nice there, but Parla are respecting. That was a massive pick in Bambi.
And that's the power of the Xin Zhao. Kim Yao playing it perfectly, catching out Bambi, going in, dealing a massive amount of burst damage, and then following up with that ultimate, just completely decimating Bambi right there. Bambi cannot get caught out by this composition from Formulation Gaming.
That was an issue in the series versus game, where, picking on the jungler constantly. But we're meowing here. Oof, that was dangerous for Cyrex, but he's okay right now. And as I said, Parla is good at fighting when they fight in their own conditions. items in the own teams, but it's all about the peaks, about, you know, the cheesy Aqua Prison that was in there, maybe some cheesy second ability from the side of Meow. The Drake is here, and that means another fight. Parla are the first ones in the river, but this is the fifth Drake in a row they lose. Maybe it's gonna be the sixth. I really don't know.
No, but yet again, no, they do it yet again. Zauer has the Hullbreaker, and they're gonna be going for a fight right
Definitely
here.
be wary in here, because here comes the grand challenge from the side of Dawn. The team fight is all splitted as they are looking for the taunt on the other side. They kill Lucian, and this looks really, really good from the side of Parla. Meow trying to run away. Nakris chasing him down with the shotgun. The tsunami comes really, really late. Parla wanting both sides of the team. The Formulation tried to taking over them once again, but this is a 3 versus 4. They have to respect though, so they retreat and wait for the teammates.
And my question to Zauer would be, why did you build a Hullbreaker? Why did you build a Hullbreaker as your very
It's
first
been an issue
item?
the whole week.
He built a Hullbreaker as his first item, but he's not doing anything with it, right? Like, he has that Hullbreaker, he could have pushed the top lane turret. Formulation Gaming could have taken the Rift Herald to apply so much pressure to Parla. You know, sure, it's a Cloud Dragon, which is a very important dragon, of course.
Yes.
But if you built that Hullbreaker as your first item, you gotta play with it. And here, exactly what I said. Nakar's got the Hullbreaker, he's gonna nullify Zauer right now. Should be able to scale into the late game as well. And Parla Gaming seems to be taking this game right here.
And they won the team fight, but lost the control of the river, and now Formulation are the ones trying to claim once again the Drake is going to be the 6th in a row of Parla Esports list. The collateral lava is not taking on the Drake. 2 in this game for Formulation. What's the issue with Parla and the Drakes? I don't understand.
Noah, are Drakes cursed for Parla? That would be are Drakes cursed for Parla? Can they just not secure Drakes?
I mean, but if you lose Drakes but win game, I mean, it's worth.
But the way that they won that first game, that was a lucky win. They did a great job, but that was a lucky win. So Formulation Gaming is setting themselves up in this game. They got the Mountain Dragon already. They secured the Cloud Dragon as well. Rift Herald is still up. It seems that Bombi is trying to coin flip this, but Formulation Gaming is not going to give this for free.
You have the resources, you know, to make Formulation away. You have the explosive cap. You have the keys in the air. Here comes the dynamic casting. Problems that Cassie has been taken down. The Rift Herald though is gonna be for Bombi. The hero sent Galio coming from above. Massive knockups from the side of guys, but they are being taken down one by one. That was a clean team fight from Formulation Gaming.
That was a beautiful ultimate.
Okay, Meow going in, maybe in trouble. You're diving into the tower. Aqua Prism from the side of Trust, and Cyrax making the work of the front line in here, defending the tower, defending his teammates. You were there because you are overestimating yourself, and Formulation are going to keep pushing this mid lane.
They're going to try to get this turret.
Okay,
They're going to try to go for it.
Maybe to overconfidence. Cyrax in the problem. Here comes the calling, and they are the ones taking the kill on Gragas. Feko was about to die, so boldly diving.
And I want to highlight a point when we look into the replay of that fight, which is going to be Katz on the Morgana. And as we look into this replay, Morgana needs a stasis enchant, Noah. Like, Katseg had a beautiful ultimate, but he didn't have the stasis enchant. Because as we can see right here, he blocked the engage from Nami, but he doesn't have the stasis to follow up with that ultimate. But, ooh, they were trying to look for a mid lane, but Parla actually wasted the Rift Herald right there.
Yeah, definitely. You weren't able to take the tower down, and that's massive because Formulation is just being able to defend the tower. They have done split pushing in the Dragon Lane side of the map, and the game yet again is just so close. The gold diff doesn't even matter. Just 2k, not even 2k above Formulation Gaming from Parla Esports. And though you were, you were arguing before about how Parla may be wanting to stall this game to the late game. They have, the late game resources to win this over. And, they are, just chilling.
I want to talk about something else though. Now that we're looking into the builds, if we look at the composition of Formulation Gaming now, AD,
yeah.
Full AD.
Yes,
Parla Esports, all of them have armor boots. All of them are building armor. If we get closer to the late game, this means that Parla is going to be super tanky because they can fully focus their defensive items against that AD composition. So this is what I mean. Like, Parla Gaming just seems to have the late game composition against Formulation.
You're gonna scale, you're gonna be tanky, you're gonna have the leg into you, you have the rotations, you have the combo with the Galio. Yeah, definitely. I think Formulation needs to be so smart when it comes to play the next minutes of the game, because it's been a 14 in the game, you are 3-5, and yeah, it feels like you are in control. I don't know, if Formulation Gaming keeps, taking all the Drakes, maybe it's gonna be all about the Drake fight.
Exactly, and only Kim Yao is sitting on the black cleaver, which yet again, you know, is a risky thing.
Meow.
Ooh, Kim Yao just, you know, asserting his dominance right there. We're like, yo, you're not gonna get close.
You have to. You're the jungler. You're this is my time. You know, asserting dominance is everything. But for now, Formulation, okay, running over the middle as well. Oh, Nacris. Right now, it's just what you said. Build the Hullbreaker and took the split pusher. Job in where guys here with the taunts as well. But nothing happened, no blood spilled in the mid lane.
And that's the thing, Noah. That's the thing that Formulation countered, however, which is guys on the Galio. Guys on the Galio just cannot engage into this composition. So if there's one thing that Parla cannot do, is just do what they did to win the previous games, which is guys having a big engage. The next dragon is spawning, however, and come on, lift this curse. Do not give this dragon to Formulation as well.
I mean, they don't want, but maybe this happened because Formulation, once again, they are in control of the river and they are zoning using these Jays. The blast has been amazing, but Nacris and Bambi are trying to take over this Drake. Here comes all the way from the side of Fury Tsunami as well, and the Drake is going to be for Parla Esports, the first one into series. Exhausted trust, but not enough. No one died in here. The binding has been beautiful, but Katze is in a very bad situation. He took down Katze. Katze down right now. The team fight is all split, so about to die, but still alive. And Parla took the prize, but lost the Dragon Laner.
Oh, and Nacris is just so strong and tanky because Nacris gets armor.
Faker, dashing forward. That was bold calling, not gonna be enough. And he's blinded by the smoke. Yeah, they only wanted, you know, the tower, and they took the prize in here. Parla Esports is not going to be able to keep facing Formulation. They are so chunked down.
And Nacris just has the perfect pick into this composition of Formulation Gaming. He's going to be able to keep fighting, and he gets tankier and tankier because that's the way that Graves works. And the later in the game you get, the more armor he gets. And he can get up to 8 stacks, which means he'll get a total amount of like 120 bonus armor on top of all the armor that he already has. And if he builds a Death Stance on top of all of that, I just don't see how Formulation Gaming can win this. And they stole the Ocean Dragon. The Ocean Dragon is not known to be the strongest dragon. In fact, it's known to be one of the weakest. But if you look at the composition of Parla Esports,
Done going for the 1v1 using ultimate, even though Nacris trying to dash backwards with the protocol. Done so low on HP though, he's gonna let him go away. Beautiful 1v1 we had in here, but no one died in the end.
You can see it, right? Like Dawn is winning the early fight, but once Nacris is able to stack up that armor, once Nacris is able to heal up with the Ocean Dragon, that's when he wins the fight. So yeah, as I said, the Ocean Dragon is an incredible dragon for Parla Esports. Riven loves the vampirism. Nacris loves the vampirism on the Graves, right? Like they all just love this vampirism.
And the fact is that from the side of Formulation Gaming and also the Dawn, you're gonna need Grievous once if you want to deal not only with the Ocean Dragon, also you have Bloodthirster there. Grievous is gonna kill so much. You really need those Grievous ones if you want to win the 1v1.
And Noah, it seems like Formulation Gaming doesn't have a single Grievous Wound item
they
yet.
don't.
And they don't have the composition to deal with the healing either. They don't have the AoE damage. Like if you look at Parla, for example, they have the Morgana. If Morgana gets Grievous Wounds, which she did, she can apply it to everyone, right? But if you look at Formulation Gaming, they have a lot of single target damage champions. So this is gonna be an insanely hard game to win against Parla because they can't apply Grievous Wounds very easily. They're full AD. They get outskilled in the late game. You have Nacris with the Hullbreaker, and the Dawn also picked up a Hullbreaker. So Formulation Gaming is forcing themselves to play this 1-3-1 composition, to have 1 in the Baron lane, 1 in the Dragon lane, 3 in the mid lane. With the 2 Hullbreakers, I feel that's the only way for them to apply enough pressure.
In my opinion, it feels like it's such a delicate strategy. It's like so fragile. And also Parla, I feel like they don't have this hard engage. You don't have a Malphite in your composition, but you can engage with Galio and Gragas. If they can engage with number superiority, they can find the chance to finish the game and place it to 0. And Formulation Gaming, I know, they have a really bad time because we have in here such a fragile series. If Parla loses, they are out. But if Formulation loses, they will have to deal with Game Lord if they want to be alive.
Ooh, and Formulation Gaming is waiting in that bush. Oh, a nice catch right there.
Yeah, but the blue wave is you know, doing the tank deity here for Parla Esports. The calling was so well intended from Vega, but not enough. And, you know, 20 seconds, not even 20 seconds for the next straight, and it's going to be the fourth in this game. The Infernal Drake that may be, you know, the last team fight. It was the last game, and maybe this one is going to be as well.
And no, I'm honestly afraid to say that this is going to be the winning Drake, because
Drake.
while we were backstage, I said it's over, right? Like, they got the fourth dragon when Formulation took it. I said it's over. I nearly even just walked away because I knew it was over. But then Parla killed all of them and won the game. The same could potentially happen here, as we're 19 minutes into the game and Parla is starting it up, Noah.
Yeah, Parla are the ones in control of the rail right now. You need to be aware, be worrying here, because the Grand Challenge came through from the side of Fiora. The Tsunami hasn't been really, really good from the side of Trust, and Parla still in the rail. Faker trying to deal damage to guys that had to flash away. Bomb is the only one staying in the Dragon Beat, force it to go backwards and jump through the wall. Formulation Gaming right now asserting dominance here in the river, as Parla are trying to figure out how are they going to face this team fight. That binding from Katze would have been tremendous, and explosive cast has been forced out from Cyrax. We have here a very, very tense situation. They are trying to zoning Formulation Gaming out, but Big Poke comes through. Meow trying to make its way onto the Dragon Pit as well. Very tense situation, as I said, and guys wants to engage reviving. He forced the Guardian Angel in here. Here comes the Grand Challenge as well. Galio coming above the sky.
Parla wins! Parla wins the game!
Gaming are losing here.
No
they are losing the game. It's a
kill
for They are taking over Formulation Gaming. It is crazy. The players are going insane back in the backstage. I mean, this is massive. Parla Esports are going to take down 2-0 Formulation Gaming.
And this is why I tweeted, I'm a massive fan of Parla Gaming right now. I knew this is what they had. Right after seeing those games against Gameboard, even after the first game, I knew they could pull it off. And now they win against Formulation Gaming, secure themselves this win, and they may as well have secured the top two.
Bam is just going crazy, running over the stage. Was a massive fight. I mean, it's all about the fourth Drake. It's all about the fourth Drake.
Yeah.
It is amazing. I mean, they're just... They have reasons to be like this, you know. They are still alive in the tournament, and Formulation, they are gambling their chances versus Game Lord.
Formulation has to pull off an upset now. They have to pull off a massive upset against Game Lord, who is coming into this tournament as the top one team. But like Formulation Gaming has to win. If they don't win, they're out.
That's gonna be a hell of a series.
That's a hell of a series.
Formulation falls short in here. I think they underestimated Parla when it came to the team fights. I mean, they proved themselves versus Game Lord. They took one map away from the favorite to win this tournament so far, and they proved themselves once again versus Formulation. I can understand why expectations were low on Parla Esports, since Nasser fell short yesterday. It was a 0-4 for Nasser Esports, and Parla came here as the second team from Turkey, not even the champions.
Oh, and my heart is beating so much after that one. No, it's crazy. That was an intense game. That was just so amazing. So as we stop casting this game, let's see what happened in the game. So bring it back to the analyst desk to show us what happened.
Let's go.
Thank you very much, Noah and Hells. And we said it's the day of upsets, and I would say nobody predicted this. I would say nobody at all thought this result was going to happen. But Carmeline, the prediction comes true.
I did. I knew it. I expected it, and I won. And that's what you get, guys, for not believing in me. You all told me Parla is going to lose. The first series, I prove it to you. Second series, they win. Boom, there you go.
Well, it was an impressive win by Parla across both games in the series as well. And honestly, I feel like in this group, Parla have probably the best read on the meta. And I want to go to one pick specifically for this game. That's the Graves. Pentakill comes from the game.
It's actually crazy how well Parla performed. And I like the flexibility they had in the draft, because I didn't expect Graves to be... Like, Graves is so popular as a jungler right now, and I didn't expect them to flex it. But they have the flexibility, like, both Bambi and Nacrus can just switch around, so that's amazing. And they saw the Fiora pick. They expected Fiora against Riven, so they just switched it up and put Grace against Fiora. And Grace is so amazing against Fiora because he has the range advantage. And you saw he went 2-0 in the beginning. He was already really strong. But in the late game, once Graves has 3 items, 4 items, he has the crit chance. That's the moment when Graves shines. And we saw then in the late game how strong he was, just getting the pentacle. That was crazy. Like, we thought the team fight was looking really good for Formulation Gaming, but then Graves came in and he just wiped them all. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, they're very rare for us to get pentacles. It's only the 3rd one of the entire WREC so far. And that Graves, I'm so used to seeing Fiora have control of the late game that we were talking about it backstage, and I was like, wow, okay. Graves is so strong in the late game. That setup in the last fight that I'm sure we're going to watch as a bunch of replays as we go through. That setup, I thought Formulation was starting to play well around the Drake. By backing off, letting it reset, it healed back up. But then, Ryu, the setup around that for Parla, they force the fight, get the pentakill. Like, when it comes to like rotating around for these objectives, do you think it was Parla or Formulation that had the advantage as the game went late?
I actually think, even though Parla went away with the win on this Dragon fight because of a fantastic play by Knackers, I think they should have played around the Dragon completely differently. They had the bot side pushing up, which is really close to the Dragon. And if they actually sent the Graves bot lane there with the Hullbreaker, they could have reset the Dragon, put Graves bot lane. Graves would then be able to pressure the inhibits turret, and Formulation would then have to respond to both bot lane and the Dragon being kind of low. So I think Parla could actually have played this much more cleanly, but well, it didn't need to. They have a player like Knackers who can just get a pentakill.
Yeah.
Look at the damage, by the way.
Yeah, impressive.
Nakris with a 22,000. Well, if Riven just has 5k, it doesn't matter. Nakris with the backpack doing so much damage.
Wow.
And yeah, the grab as well. Like, it was pretty close the entire game. But then, in the end, just one team fight decides everything.
Yeah, it shows you how back and forth this game was, but also the Formulation, for the majority of the mid-game and towards the late game, did have control. Kind of similar to our Game 1, and Parla, I think they've shown us that against teams that can't close out very quickly, unlike a team like Game Lord who took the series 2-1, Formulation had some clear issues throughout the series in some of the matchups, some of the ways they were playing, and for Parla, that's how they have loved to play. That's how they took games off of teams in Turkey and advanced through the last chance qualifiers, was by playing the late game well, winning those team fights, and actually having compositions built around the Galio, around these champions that can actually team fight very well. So for me, Parla have been the biggest surprise so far. Parla have looked very strong. It's time to hear from Parla, though, as we've got Bambi for an interview with Stuart.
Thank you very much, Stress. Yes, I'm indeed joined by Bambi. Incredible performance by Parla, coming in as one of the underdogs of the entire tournament. You take down Formulation Gaming. How are you feeling after this incredible victory?
Interiorlists say we are the worst team for Barcelona, but we will show the best. Game Lord is favorite, but we don't care. We win one game. We was win 2 games, I know, but we will show tomorrow who is the best, who is the under.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of tomorrow as well, you now have a chance to get into tomorrow's semi-final. You're going to be pretty much a Game Lord fan now in the next game because you want Game Lord to win. Because if Game Lord win, that means that you're going to be going through to the semi-final and you could potentially be playing it against WREC. So how do you feel about that one?
Yeah, I think Game Lord is a good team for Formulation, or maybe but we don't know. It is offline, not online. If online, I will say Game Lord will stomp it, but it is offline. It is not normal. Maybe Formulation can win. I don't know. We will see.
For sure. And then the last question is, we have to talk about the pentakill. You know, Nakres, pentakill on Graves. What do you think about the pentakill and Nakres as a player in general?
Yeah, Parla and Turkish community will know best mid in the Europe, Nakres, but we will show the best mid for Barcelona. Nakres is really good carry. I think Nakres is good.
Yeah. For sure. And then any questions, any thoughts towards your fans? I know you have a lot of, Turkish community at home and everything like that. Anything you want to say to the fans?
Can I speak Turkish for Turkish community? Ya bizi desteklemeye devam edin. Aynı Türkiye'de yaşadığımız şanssızlıkları burada yaşamaya izin vermeyeceğiz. Rickster, Game Lord'tur, bu şekilde isimlere bakmadan oynuyoruz, zaten bunun farkına varmışsınızdır. Hepsini parçalayacağız arkadaşlar. Yeter ki bizlere destek vermeye devam edin sizler ve Parla Espor'u artık takip etmiyorsanız takip etmeyi de unutmayın arkadaşlar.
He's saying that basically follow Parla Sports, and then we did some mistakes in Turkey, but we will not do this time, and we are hoping that we will be showing tomorrow, and we will do our best, and we will proud Turkey.
Awesome. Bambi, thank you very much for the interview. Congratulations again on the victory. Back to Stress on the analyst desk.
Thank you, Stuart. Thank you very much for that interview. Good to hear from Bambi and the team in general from Parla. I think it's fair to comment on Bambi's comments about kind of like a lot of analysis coming into the tournament kind of rated Parla quite low. I think what we didn't really have a good view of, probably just from lack of like casting Parla week in, week out, of Parla as a team and how well they played together, because I think that's really where they showed their strengths. Like Nakres did very well, but the way that Parla drafted right now around team fights, Ryu, I know that's something that you feel very strongly about. Is like Parla's draft is pretty solid, right?
It's very solid, and one of their strengths in the draft is actually, we just talked about Nakres, the ability to play several champions on a high level, that Nakres, Bambi, and Cyrix can flex these champions around. They can pick Graves early in the draft, and it's like, you don't know where I'm going to put it, because we know Cyrix can play it, Bambi can play it, and well, we saw Nakres can definitely play it as well. So it's really, really interesting to see how they're able to use this champion ocean of those players to win the draft.
So it's time to look at our play of the game. I wonder which play it's gonna be. I wonder, play of the game.
The mystery.
Is it perhaps the Graves?
just wait what's gonna happen. Like, I thought they were losing it, but look at that Graves. He's just, with a crit chance, he's just one-shotting them left and right and gets the pentakill. It's absolutely crazy. Let me look at the hype there.
The fun part about this play is like you see 4 or 5 red players, and then like 2 seconds later, they're all gone. Where did they go?
They've all gone. The collateral damage takes so many people out. Just the damage in general. I mean, great play. There's probably a Coca-Cola pop-off at some point coming from the coaches jumping on the stage, because they certainly did pop off in that exchange. So here is the Coca-Cola pop-off. I didn't know this was coming, but I saw it on the replay. So here's the Coca-Cola pop-off from that moment. I mean, you can tell how much it means. We heard from Bambi about the Turkish community in general, and how, you know, Parla kind of were underrated. They felt like they had something to prove a little bit after
he's going crazy.
that performance. He took his headset off. He's like, he's done. But yeah, popping off, pentakill comes through, Parla looking great.
It's amazing to see how much this means for the players. Like you see Bambi, even in the game against Game Lord, jumping off his chair every single time there's something good happens to the team. It's honestly great to see how much it means to them, and then watching them succeed. Even after the interview, he felt like he could make Turkey proud after Nash's performance yesterday. So, I mean, props to the Turkish community. I mean, you guys are getting a show.
I mean, of course it matters to them, because if they win, if they manage to get through this group stage, you end up going to the Icons Global Championship. So it's a big deal.
Yeah, there's a lot on the line. We've got to check out who our MVP was from that series, and an impressive win from Parla. I think consistency over both games gives guys the opportunity. We've been behind the scenes being like, please can someone ban Galio?
Yeah.
Like, please, does somebody take the champion away from him? It's too comfortable. I think Nakres certainly could have earned it. We locked this before the pentakill, to be honest.
True.
So
That's true.
I think this certainly is a very close run between the two.
I think his Galio
players.
is just too amazing.
Yeah.
Because he had so many engages where he was just catching multiple people in not only this series, but also in the other series. But obviously Nakres was so good on that Grace. So it's very hard to say who's the best.
Yeah, and as we see, guys, stats from the series against Formulation. Only 2 deaths, a lot of assists across.
That is a true support. 0 kills. He knows how to play the role.
Clean. Can I just point out, we are 1 game difference in the results from today, from it being Parla advancing in first spot in the group from Group B. If they had taken Game 3 against Game Lord, they would have locked first spot. Now, to talk about the stakes for our last series of the day, of course, we have coming up soon, we've got Formulation versus Game Lord. Now, in that series, if Game Lord win, Game Lord advance in the first spot in the group, and Parla, because of this series win over Formulation, will advance in second. If, however, Formulation pull the upset off themselves and beat Game Lord, Parla, and Formulation will all have 1 series win and 1 series loss, meaning we'll be in a 3-way tie for our group stage. If that happens, we will give you all of the information about how that is settled a little bit later on. We still have games to play today, and that means in a few minutes' time, it's going to be Game Lord taking on Formulation, and it's all on the line. Stay with us for a few more minutes.
There's something about games. What you're doing there gives you real chills.
There is one thing that can't be stopped.
Feelings. And if you can feel it,
It must be real, right?
and that's
That's real magic.